was almost 12 hours ago, and I'm a little fuzzy on the math here since I've been up for quite a while, but what was it, 5:15 Thursday, when in fact we had the FBI releasing a number of photos of both suspect number 1 and suspect number 2, and then we just had this string of police activity starting around 11 o'clock last night with some activity in Cambridge at MIT, where sadly an MIT police officer was shot dead, and then suddenly this activity moving over into Watertown, where we see this video coming in, where an active search continues, and we are being told that in fact the search is continuing for suspect number 2. This is the guy that you've seen a lot of pictures of in the last few hours, and there's the latest picture that we received from the FBI within the last hour or so. Suspect number 2, the one on the left, that is the person we are being told is still being hunted at this hour, and that hunt for him is happening in the Watertown area.
It would appear, Mike, that hunt is happening on foot as well, given that they continue to concentrate in one area with officers on foot.
It does. A lot of activity out there, Rock. And then you can just imagine, as you mentioned, you have nightfall. While it's good on the one hand because they've been warning people to stay inside,
sure,
they don't have to deal with that so much. But on the other hand, nightfall gives anyone who's on the run a potential hiding spot. And we're also being told that there are some issues with getting the helicopters up in the air because of the weather out there. So clearly a huge show of force. I mean, let's not forget how much attention is being focused on this investigation, how many officers, federal, state, and local, are in the Boston area delving into this situation. So they've definitely got the manpower, but still there's a lot of places for someone to hide, and we are being told that that second suspect number 2, is in fact on the loose at this hour.
Yeah, and from speaking with people who live there, we know that police are searching people's yards, they're searching open doors, basements, if somebody has a door left open behind sheds, so it does sound like they might think that the suspect is on foot rather than in a vehicle. Would you agree with that?
It would seem that way. I mean, I think that seems to be the case, and you just see there all the armed officers looking everywhere for this guy. I mean, this video was shot a little bit ago, but this is what we're being told is continuing out there by our sources, but also our crews out in the field that are witnessing this continuing to happen all in that area.
Also, I was speaking with Bob Ward last night about how likely it is, what the normal time frame is for when police release pictures, how much longer it then takes to identify who's in those pictures. And he was talking about one of his unsolved cases where on a Saturday they released the picture and by Tuesday they had made the arrest. So it's not uncommon in some of these cases where after police release those photos, they are flooded with very valid tips. I mean, I know they have to sort through, the ones that are bad information and good information, but it's not unusual for these kinds of cases to be solved within days, even hours after a photo is released.
Right, and we're still trying to figure out exactly what went down here, but another possibility that I was being told by a retired FBI agent is that when the authorities put out these pictures, yes, they want to get an ID on the suspect, but they also want to find the suspect. But another aspect of it is the idea that they want to put some pressure on the suspects. They want to put some pressure on them, squeeze them, so to speak. Maybe they're going to make a wrong move. Maybe they're going to get nervous. Maybe they're going to try to get out of the area. So is that what happened here? Unclear at this point, but obviously within hours of these photos being released, we're seeing a significant amount of police activity.
I was going to say, Mike, if you look at the streets and you happen to just be living on Mount Auburn Street in Watertown, open up your window and see things like an armored personnel carrier come by your house, SWAT teams, bomb squad, ambulances, police vehicles, numerous police vehicles. You can see the lights. It's lighting up.
Armed police.
Watertown tonight.
Police with their guns drawn. Actually, this is some new video that we are just getting in right now. Ambulances going down your street, being woken up to the sound of things being detonated. One of the people I spoke with said it sounded like a circus. Another person said it sounded like a war zone because the gunfire was so rapid at one point. He said not as rapid as a machine gun, but definitely an interchange back and forth. We want to bring in Catherine Parada again. She's live on the scene on Mount Auburn Street, I believe, where the media has been pushed back all night. And Catherine, have you been able to get any better of a vantage point? It looks like you've moved up a little bit.
No, we're in the same spot, and in fact, we've been here for a while. We have just come onto the scene here about a half hour ago. Of course, we've been following this very, very closely, but our crew has been here all night, and it has been just such an active scene, and you can see what's going on here behind me. You can see a member of the National Guard and also a police officer here standing in the street, and beyond that, you can see a lot of flashing lights, a huge police presence here in Watertown right now, and it looks like NEMLEC has been activated because we've seen some police crews from Billerica and Chelmsford. I've personally seen police cruisers from North Reading and Boston. Now, just a huge police presence. We just want to emphasize that. Can't tell you enough. And they are taking every precaution. Now, you just heard from that resident Larry about 5 minutes ago, and he was depicting sort of what he has experienced tonight so far. He was saying that he lives a little ways down the street on Mount Auburn here, or off of Mount Auburn. He said that he was just sitting in his house. All of a sudden, he heard many gunshots, and he also heard some explosions. And then he said that he heard sirens screaming by. At first, he necessarily didn't think much of it, but once he heard those gunshots and those explosions, he knew something was wrong. He came out here to get a better look. Now, he is not left out of his home right now. He can go home anytime he likes. However, some residents have been taken from their homes or at least moved out of their homes while police are focusing on this area trying to find a suspect. There are 2 suspects in this. We want to start at the beginning here. This all started at MIT around 10 minutes of 11 last night. At that point in time, a MIT police officer, he was shot. He ended up dying from those wounds. Now, our crew was there around 12:30. Our crew tells us they observed all of the police crews there. They just took off towards this direction of Watertown. That is where things are right now. So it has really been progressing, and this is where the active scene is at this point in time. Now, we have gotten reports that suspect 1 has been apprehended, perhaps taken to a local hospital. Suspect 2, they were still looking for him. He was on the loose, and they gave us a little bit of a description, a man in a gray hoodie with some curly hair that they were necessarily looking for. However, they did say along with that description that this man is armed and extremely dangerous, that he could be having explosives with him. And of course, we did mention that there were 2 explosions that happened here in Watertown. At this point in time, it is still very much a developing story, still very much an active scene here. But what we do want to let you know is that they are searching some of the neighborhoods here, a couple of the streets, Spruce Street for one, Hazel Street. According to our crew, there was a specific interest paid to number 14 Hazel Street. And really, at this point in time, they are just trying to find this suspect who they are describing as armed and dangerous. We also want to let you know that there was a carjacking at some point in time after that MIT shooting and before all of this police activity here, a Mercedes SUV. So at this time, we're getting pieces of information, and it has been this way all night. Just so many reports out there, a lot of rumors. We are working to confirm them all as they come in. But one thing is for sure, police are telling you that if you encounter somebody who you believe to be involved in any of this, do not try and apprehend them yourself. Call 911 immediately. They are considered to be armed and dangerous. Taking another look here at the scene, though, you could just see what is going on. You could see some cruisers down that way. You could see the police presence here as well. Just a lot of that going on here tonight. And a lot of people just out here who are living in this area sort of milling around, taking it all in. We also spoke with a high school student. He's 18 years old, and he actually ran down here to take a look. He had heard those gunshots and those explosions as well. So he came down here. He didn't even put any shoes on. Then this crime scene developed, and they ended up pushing him further and further back. He is one person who can't get into his home right now. Take a look. You can see some cars speeding right behind me. They're speeding down that way. So once again, we're just keeping an eye on all of this tonight, and we're going to be keeping you updated as we get more information. For now, I'm live in Watertown. Catherine Parada, Fox 25 News.